Hello, folks, and welcome. So my name is Peter Langan, and you are listening to, well, this is not the first episode, but this kind of is the first episode. So I'm joined with my good friend, business partner, Alex Haloco, and we're just going to be creating these episodes just to share what we're doing and kind of different things we're working on at different points and just generally life. So yeah, Alex, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Good to be chatting here. Hopefully my audio is coming through crystal clear.
Well, that's actually, Alex, funny enough, that was actually going to be my first question. So what microphone are you using?
The microphone is such an amazing microphone I'm using today. It is the built-in microphone on my MacBook Pro, which Peter
wow,
is not so happy with.
Well, funny enough, you should say that, Alex. I actually have one of them as well, but I just selected a different one on the list. But yeah, no, you might be guessing, guys. I like audio, but I just wanted to get in up front, just in case you have trouble hearing Alex. That you know, we know what microphone he's using, which is really shows how serious he takes this episode and what we're trying to do here. This is what he cares for you folks. But yeah, look, microphones aside, I think we'll move on from microphones, and someday in the future you'll be like, wow, Alex, you're so clear today. That's when he'll actually be using a different microphone, and that'll become clear that day. But yeah, for sure. So yeah, overall, we're doing pretty well. So I think a little bit of history on me anyway, and then I suppose Alex can go into a bit of history on himself. I first started business years ago when I started selling machine tools, and I decided, you know what, I got a message on my phone. I was out with my friends and it just said, you got funds. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up, but whatever it is, it's going to be online. That's as far as I knew it. And that's led me to many different places. You know, and that's kind of us here today. So Alex, when did you decide you wanted to kind of do something different?
What, from the traditional like 9 to 5, or like when did it all?
Yeah, that 9 to 5 thing.
Yeah, so my background used to be a personal trainer, hated personal training, used copywriting to get more clients for personal training, then decided to leave personal training altogether and go full time into copywriting, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride since then in all sorts of different online business ventures, from Amazon FBA to retail arbitrage on Amazon, doing some online training, online coaching with copywriting clients, and obviously doing my freelance writing as well. So yeah, I think we've both got quite a varied background of skills and knowledge. And yeah, we both met. I met Peter at a business we both used to work for or work at. So, yeah. And
years ago, yeah.
From there, we kind of, just developed skill sets. And then both of us no longer work for that business anymore. And we've done all sorts of different business ventures together. And yeah, it's a bit of a wild ride, but I feel now we're kind of starting to find our feet after maybe, I bet it's been about 3 years, Peter, since we've been like trying different things, and some things have flopped, like some things have failed miserably, but also we've actually learned a ton along the way from trying loads of different things. Obviously, it's all based around our skill set, so a lot of it's based around Amazon FBA, bringing products in from the Middle East and then selling them globally. And now we're doing something which is pretty cool with data. So maybe we'll talk about it on a future episode. But yeah, we've been a bit of a journey together.
That's been pretty mad, the data, because I actually studied data when I was in college, and I never really thought much more about it apart from making nice Google Excel sheets. But yeah, lately data has been a pretty big part of our business, which is pretty cool. But rewinding back to the 9 to 5, I just knew that's not what I wanted to do. I remember when I was finishing college twice, and funny enough, I didn't even pick my college course. I just didn't feel, even though I studied data, but I didn't feel like this is what I want to do. And I remember finishing up twice because I did my undergraduate and then my master's, and all my friends and everyone in college and all, they were going to get, a job. That's what they were planning for. And that didn't really resonate with me. Not that I didn't want to work, don't get me wrong. I wanted to work, I want to do something that was important, but I also wanted to be my own boss, for better or for worse. And I've never given into that kind of like, you have to get a job. Like, there's so much out there now, you can actually make your own job. And I think a lot of times when people are trying to make their own job and it doesn't necessarily work out for them, sometimes it's because they're standing in their own way.
Yeah, for sure, I agree with that. For me, like it's funny to get onto this because I am quite passionate about this subject, mainly because I think a lot of my decisions in the last 5 or 10 years have always come down to proving people wrong. Because there's been certain people in my life who've been quite close to me who I feel have been the things that have been stopping me doing things because they maybe wanted to guide me a certain direction or whatever. And
yeah, definitely. It probably wasn't out of badness.
No, just always out of love and always out of like wanting to do the right thing for people. But it just never jived with me. None of it. Like the thought for me of working for somebody else is literally I couldn't work for anyone else. I'm like unemployable. Like I am so like
you'd probably lose your job. Yeah, you definitely would.
I would lose my job within, I don't even know. I wouldn't last a week in a 9-to-5 job. It's not for me. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just definitely not for me. I like how some people refer to like this whole thing as like the Matrix and like escaping the Matrix. And then when you're outside of the Matrix, you kind of realize like you can live by a totally different set of rules. I quite like that, like that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's been my background.
It's pretty mad.
I think it's probably the background for a lot of people listening to this. I would have thought, or maybe some people listening to this who are in the 9-to-5 job looking to get out of it or looking to do something on the side. There's always options.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably a lot of people in this that are in the 9-to-5. They could be actually doing their job right now, and this is kind of probably. Yeah, no, I won't say necessarily. It's probably a bit of an inspiration, but I'd say they're also just thinking like, "Wow, this is kind of possible." And I'm not saying we've it all figured out. We don't, like, not by any stretch of the imagination. But we are literally doing our best to figure it out.
We have literally thrown our aircraft. We've thrown, for the better sense, we've thrown a big piece of metal off the top of a big skyscraper, and we're trying to frantically build the machine on the way down. That's literally what we're doing.
But is that what everyone's doing, Alex? Though, like, I think when everyone starts a business, like, someone says you don't know what you don't know, and like we definitely don't know what we don't know because that's the best bit. I love when we figure out something. We're like, oh, right, so that's why that is. We just literally don't know it. But I don't think anyone knows. No,
I think staying humble is probably one of the biggest things I've learned in the past few years on realizing like. I'm trying to put myself in positions where I am the dumbest person in the room and then just absorb loads of knowledge from people rather than trying to be Mr. Cleverclogs. Because I literally, like, I know quite a lot about a few things, but in the grand scale of things on, like, where we want to take things with business and stuff, I am not even on the spectrum for what a lot of other people know. And as much as it is quite scary and you feel like an imposter and stuff, I do quite like putting myself in positions where there are other people who are way further ahead of me that we can learn from.
But does everyone not feel like an imposter at the beginning, I think? Like, how can you not?
Yeah, for sure, I suppose. Like, when you, depending on whatever you decide to do, I think just making a decision to go to walk your own path and figure things out is quite a big decision in itself. So you're almost having to light the path as you go, or like build your aircraft on the way down, or whatever that famous saying is. So yeah, I feel like I've had some pretty decent mentors over the years who have kind of like guided some of the decisions I've made. But we're at the point at the minute where I feel we're kind of like guiding our own ship. Like, we're kind of like meeting new people on the way and stuff, but we're literally just trying different things out to make things work. Some things do work, some things don't work. And obviously the things that do work, we double down on and then get rid of the things that don't work.
Try and do more
kind
of
of like figuring out for ourselves probably a better sense.
Yeah, I think like kind of what I figured out from working with some different clients is that, as I said and as we said there, like none of them really have it figured out. And sometimes you think people like, you know, in their position, they have it figured out. They don't, but we're all there trying to do our best. And I think when you find something, as you said, that works, you just double down on it. So yeah, it's just so strange, like this whole business world. I can never think of doing that 9 to 5. And you're funny, people say that 9 to 5, you know, it's secure. But it's actually not really. There's a lot of things are up in the air in 9 to 5. Like we've seen recently, all the staff from Facebook, I think some Amazon people were let go, Twitter, all these different companies that people are like, oh, you know, that's a good, secure, safe job, and yet they're just being fired, let go like that. Like, is that control? Like, is that certainty? I don't think it is. I think it's false certainty. Or maybe it's just like saying, here, I will give my responsibility to this person for my life.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I feel that the most stable and secure job you can have is working for yourself. Like, you can fire yourself. You don't have to fire yourself, which is probably equally as like, yeah, that's like chicken and egg, isn't it? Like, that's just as difficult. Your job
fires you, Alex.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, literally. But yeah, I feel that's kind of like where we're at. I think you'll agree with me that we don't actually have like a direction for this podcast. It was kind of like Peter really wants to start a podcast. I said we had too much going on. Oh, my phone's ringing. 1 sec. Turn it off. But see, this is what we are live. It won't be edited out. Yeah, so Peter really wants to start a podcast. I said we had too much going on, but then I was a bit like, well, actually, it's only going to take 10, 15 minutes per episode, and these will just be general musings of what we've been up to, what we're learning, what we're up to, you know, where we're headed, to hopefully give you guys some insight and help anyone out who decides they want to listen to an Irishman and a Mancunian talking on a podcast about building a business.
Yeah, I think it's but I think it's pretty. Alex, you're 100% right, and I think, you know, people will notice that, like, you know, we're not very good at this podcast stuff. Like, we're not experts at this yet. But if we do this every day, or not every day, sorry, if we do this regularly, I won't say the everyday word with Alex. You have to bring Alex into an idea slowly, because if you bring it all in at once, he'll just stop. He won't do it. Yeah, drop things in hint by hint. Eventually, you get there at the end.
Let's just stop it.
No, I think
this needs talking about. How was your way of getting me to a podcast?
Yeah.
Here? Your way of getting me to a podcast was actually sending me over a really expensive podcast microphone that is actually still in the box and hasn't been opened yet, and then tells me that I have to buy some other expensive thing for the podcast microphone to work. Oh, there it is. Look, Pod Mic. Which
Alex wanted to Go on, Alex. Alex wanted to return it to me, and I says no. Alex wanted to return the microphone to me, and there's a delay, but that's Alex's broadband. Alex wanted to return the microphone to me, and I says, no, Alex, you won't. I says, hold on to it, because I know someday, be it in 6 months' time or a year, this is kind of my long-term planning, he will be like, man, you're right, and it's brilliant, and I'm very happy with it. So there's no point him sending it back to me just to send it back to him in a few months' time. So I'm just going to leave it there. And it will come out in its own. But here's how I got the podcast to come about. I just dropped hints for about 3 months, 2 months, and I think about 2 months ago I recorded a voice note saying we have to record a podcast, and we're here today now, 2 months later. But it worked. My plan worked.
Definitely. I think we should cap it for this one. Keep them at like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
Short and sweet little snippets.
100%. And I think they'll get better with time, Alex. Like, to be honest, like, this is our first one. We're kind of not being very specific on what we're talking about, but we will be more specific in future episodes. Like, there's a lot of stuff we do between us that we want to kind of bring into this, and we don't want it to be like it's just about data, or it's just about marketing, or it's just about this. It's just about growing a business and growing businesses. I think that's going to be pretty cool. So if you're interested in growing a business, if you're interested in just what people do that are in coffee shops on computers, it's funny when people say to me, like, what do you do? Like, really, when people ask me, like, what do? I do tell them, in coffee shops, and there's always that person in the corner, usually with a Mac. It's nearly always a Mac. and they're there and they have coffee. Could be decaf, but they have coffee, and they're there just footing away in the corner. That's me. That's my job. That's how I do my things. Like, that's life. Alex does it as well. He's coffee shop.
Oh, my blood.
It is, and people. So funny, Alex. Funny you should say that, because you know when you tell people that, they're like, "Oh, I get it now. I can put you in a box. I know what you do." Whereas you say to people, "Oh, I do marketing online, blah blah blah." People get a bit confused. Whereas it's like, you work in the coffee shop on the laptop. Yeah, I know those people. I see them. It's funny, but it's true.
I quite like keeping what I do like a dark horse, so where people are like always like, "What does that Alex guy actually do?"
Look at that fella, got a new car and everything. What's he at? Must be a drug dealer.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah. That is literally it, like. But no, folks, here, seriously. Look, when we're recording this, we don't even have a name, but I'm sure there's a name if you're listening to this. So please subscribe. Please share it. Bear with us until about episode 50 when we start getting slightly better. Episode 100 will be, yeah, they're good. But yeah, we're happy to have you along with the journey.
Good stuff. See you in the next episode, guys. Bye.
No worries. Take care. Bye.